Testing. We are live. It is the top of the hour, 8:05. Well, let's be real. It's 8:08 p.m. UK time. We are in the United Kingdom, aka Great Britain, aka the great country of England. More specifically, we are in London town, in South London, at Love to Beat radio station. I see some people are tuning in. Thank you so much for joining. You are tuning into a show called Shoot Your Shot, created and hosted by yours truly, Summer Kutb, aka DJ Summertime. But forget about me. More importantly, today we have a very exciting guest. I'm lucky to call my close friend, Rebecca Traub, aka media producer and entrepreneur. So give some love to Rebecca, aka Beck.
You're so funny.
Super excited to be here. So a little bit of housekeeping, if you will, because this is the third show ever of Shoot Your Shot. I really appreciate the hearts on the TikTok screen. But it's only my third episode ever, and it is the first episode ever with a guest. And I'm very fortunate to have my incredible, smart, talented friend, Rebecca, with me. My mom just said it hasn't started yet. Okay, I think everyone else sees that it has. So, a little bit of background on the show since it is the first show. Shoot Your Shot is a mentality, and that is what I'm calling the show. So shoot your shot means going for it, going after whatever it is in your life. It being the key word because it is in the eye of the beholder. So it could be something more traditional when you think of shooting your shot, like starting a company, becoming an actor, a writer, all of these things. But it could also be anything. It can be that you really want to be a mom, that you really want to find the partner in life. Shooting your shot is customized and tailored to you. And always remember, there is no dream greater than another dream. There is no comparison in dreams. It just takes being fearless and bold to go after what you want. So the show will be a series of episodes interviewing people that are going after their dreams, shooting their shot, so to speak, in whatever way they see fit. When we don't have guests, there is a music aspect to the show. We are on a radio station after all. I am a diehard rap hip-hop girl. So on those shows, we will have a lot of North American rap playing. Sometimes I dabble in Arabic rap, Spanish rap, but there will be rap music. But not tonight because we have Rebecca Traub here live. Last thing I'll say is we're at Love to Beat Radio. So if you're listening on the station at lovetobeatradio.co.uk and you're like, yo, I want to see what these girls look like. What's the room look like? What's the deal? If that's what you want, you can tune in on TikTok Live. The TikTok name is at Gamel Camel. Shout out to Egypt. That's GAMALCAMEL if you want to see us. And vice versa. If you're looking at us right now and you're like, not feeling this, these girls are weird, you can just listen at lovetobeatradio.co.uk. And the very last thing I'm going to say is, this station is amazing for having me. I'm a new presenter, and there are a ton of really cool hosts and presenters on the station. So check out Love to Beat Radio. They got different shows going on all the time, very diverse, very unique, and there's music playing 24/7. So that's enough hoopla, if you will. We are ready to interview my friend here, Rebecca Traub. A little bit of a backstory about how we met because it really goes well with the theme of Shoot Your Shot. But I have a little health and wellness company. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm struggling with bringing a wellness product into the UK. And I met Beck in the same way because she was also a founder of a health and wellness company. So we met literally on the journey of shooting our shot, which I think is very cool to have her as my first guest. So
very symbiotic.
It really is. And so we're going to get into the very first question, which for the name of the show is, Beck, what does the concept of shoot your shot or that mentality, what does that mean to you?
I guess it means following your dreams, taking the risks, not giving up. I think that's kind of what you said anyways.
No, hell yeah, that's absolutely right. Shooting your shot is really just going for it, whatever it is, and it looks different to everybody. But I think it's super easy to, in life, kind of go with what's traditional and what's customary and be afraid of what people are going to think and what people are going to say, so we don't always go for it. So yeah, it's just going after whatever your dream is. So as I mentioned, this wonderful woman who has joined me is a media producer. She's an entrepreneur. She's a very inspiring woman. And so I want to learn a little bit more about how she got started. I don't even know the whole story. So if you can kind of talk us through how you became a media producer and what that's like.
Yeah. So specifically becoming a producer, I grew up in the film industry my entire life. My mom was in the film industry. So I was kind of the kid that was always hanging out, and she kind of put me to work and was like, go be an extra or something. I don't love being in front of cameras though. This is fine. This is enough.
This is just a phone.
This is just a phone. So yeah, I was just kind of always around it. But then she said to me, you can do whatever you want. You could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, but you can't go into film. And I'm like, but I know how much fun this is. So I went to university and studied law and would sit in court all day going, this is so boring. And then I'd go work on a movie at night. And I was like, this is so much more fun. So I stuck with the film industry and then just kind of worked my way up from an assistant director to production coordinator to production manager to associate producer to producer. And then I started my own digital media company as the CEO and producer. So that was really fun. We got to make super dope commercial videos and magazines, and it was a huge lifestyle brand in Vancouver, Canada. And that was a blast as well.
A little bit of us started from the bottom, now we hear kind of thing. If I had the tech going, I'd play that from Drake, but it's super cool that you worked your way up from the bottom to being an extra to producing.
Yeah. And now I have some producing partners that we make content with, that we're putting together some film and TV shows. Even my mom and I are working together now, so that's super dope. Love that. And yeah, just keep working at it and grinding.
That's incredible. And so it sounds like I wanted to ask Beck kind of what inspired her, and it sounds like I heard mom several times, and we know how we all feel about our moms. But so would you say your mom was a major reason you were inspired? And if she was listening, is there something you would say to her?
I sent the link to my mom. I don't know if she's going to be listening, but I was very inspired at the beginning. The film industry is tough. You work crazy long hours. It is so it's so thankless and unforgiving of a job. It's the most unglamorous thing ever. So I think she burnt out and she left and she went and did a bunch of things and came back to it. And then I got burnt out and I left and did a bunch of things and I came back to it. There is something cool about it in that I think why I keep going back or I keep staying in it is the amount of people that you meet from all over the world, the traveling you get to do with it. You just learn so much about life and about people and about you, and it's just such a cool journey to be able, through all this we're telling stories to other people and entertaining and educating and whatever the content is. But it really is about the people that just keeps bringing you back, including my mom.
That's awesome. Shout out to Beck's mom, if you're listening. Never met you, but I love you, and she clearly loves you too. But I definitely agree that people in life is kind of what makes everything great. Even sometimes you're stuck in a job you don't like while you're trying to shoot your shot and figure out your dream, but I think you'll notice if the people around you are great, that's kind of what makes things flow as you get to your dream. So that's super cool. In terms of your career thus far, and part of shooting your shot in this show isn't that we've made it, but we're on the path and we're pivoting and we're turning. But what would you say so far has been your biggest win when we're talking media producer?
Biggest win. I've interviewed huge celebrities like Jane Fonda and Charlize Theron.
Whoa, name drop! But that's pretty cool.
on the red carpet at the Glamour Magazine Awards in New York. That was huge. I've been spotted in public where people recognized me because they were fans.
Yo, we got a celebrity up in here, y'all. She's being modest.
I was like, oh my God, I made it. That's like
She
it.
made
I can
it.
die now.
And because I'm here, I made it too. I'm associated with her.
I produced my first movie when I was 24. I thought that was like...
That's incredible.
That was it. I was like, again, I'm good. I can die now. Oh, I'm just kidding.
She's still alive, which is
I'm still here.
great.
Still doing it.
Good. Okay, cool. That's a lot of top things. One of my questions for her was about celebrity sightings and such, but we just got a few name drops. We're going to try to get more later. We want more. Okay, cool. So in terms of this shooting your shot, and I keep mentioning because it's the theme of the show, but when you think about that, and you kind of touched on this, that there were things where you made it and you thought, oh, I could die now. I've done it. And I've had that happen to me. And then a couple of days later, you feel like, what's next, right? So what happens when you're an ambitious person like Beck is you probably accomplish a lot of things and then you're wondering what's going to be the next thing? What's going to be the next thing? So when you think about shooting your shot, even though you've had great success, what do you think about, like, what's been on your mind in terms of your career specific to media production in shooting your shot going forward in the rest of your path? Has there been anything you've been thinking about, keeping you up at night?
Yeah, so now I'm starting to write my own projects. So I have been more of a service producer up until now, where I help other companies and other people make movies by just putting it all together for them. So now I've started writing my own stuff. I have 3 TV series that I'm working on and 3 films that I'm working on.
Damn.
That's kind of the next thing is I would love to see my stuff out there. I would love to have a voice and say things. I can't tell you what yet, but I'm gonna say.
People want to know. I want to know. And what does that look like in terms of people who aren't familiar with the film or media industry? I'm not super familiar. So production is one thing. So are you talking about writing and directing, or would you also be producing in those kind of situations?
Yeah, I would be producing and not writing, coming up with the concepts.
Okay.
I'm not the writer. I don't think I could write. So what a producer is really good at, or a really good producer, is that they find the people that are really good to do those things. So I'll come up with a concept, I'll go find a writer, I'll find the director, I'll find the money, and then put it all together. Okay.
Super cool. Sounds like you're doing everything in that scenario.
It's kind of like a CEO of a company or owner of a company. You don't do all the things, but you strategize and come up with whatever concepts you have to do.
Awesome. And I know you kind of want to keep a secret kind of what you're working on, but are the things that you're thinking about producing in the same genre, same theme, same type of film or show, or are they kind of all different?
They're kind of all different. I would say I'm focused right now on romantic comedies, just because I feel like we need more of those.
A little bit of a rom-com situation. Who doesn't like a rom-com?
That's exactly it. I think we all saw that Nobody Wants This came out, and we were all like, oh my God, thank God. There's just like some lighthearted...
I watched it in one evening.
Fun energy. Absolutely, so did I. We lost that for a little bit. I think we've lost comedy altogether. So I would like to bring some of that back.
Awesome.
While sharing some of my own personal stories.
Awesome. Very cool. So that is a little bit about the media production. We're going to kind of go back to it, and we're going to go down a path of regrets, highs, lows, reflections, and we're going to touch back on that. But I did want to ask a question because I mentioned at the beginning of the show that the reason that Beck and I met is we were both dabbling in being health and wellness entrepreneurs in London. Obviously, you can tell we don't have a British accent here, so we're both North American girls living in London. Beck is from Canada, I'm from the US, and we both wanted to bring a health and wellness concept to the UK. And so I'm curious because when I met Beck maybe 2 years ago, she had a very cool beverage, like an adaptogen beverage with lots of different functions. And I had a different product as well in a similar space. When you decided to pursue that endeavor, Did you see that as an addition to being in media and production, or were you thinking of doing an overall shift? How did you kind of look on taking on multiple passions?
Yeah, so essentially, when you do a film, you're kind of doing a one project maybe a year, maybe you do a couple. So you always have these in-betweens, like what's next? So I had an in-between moment where I was always very passionate about health and wellness, always, especially working in film when you're working crazy hours and you don't have time to eat properly or work out. That was when I really got into like, how can I supplement to make myself feel better? What can I do? So I got really into like biohacking and just being super clean as you can. And also I was in San Francisco this one weekend and got really drunk and I was super hungover the next day and walked into...
Crunk in the club.
I walked into this health market the next morning, picked up an adaptogen drink, and it literally changed how I felt instantly. So then I was like, I just became obsessed with adaptogen and functional beverages. So when I was in this what's next period, I randomly had a phone call with somebody that I had talked about wanting to do this before, and he said, let's partner and let's do it. But I'm in London right now. So so I was like, okay, well, yeah. So I guess I thought maybe it wasn't a complete change of focus, but it was more going to be like, I'll do it for a few years, grow the company, and then I'll sell it and go back to film and television, or, you know, do it kind of all at the same time. But it is something, I mean, health and wellness is something that's so important to me. So I knew I wanted to have some kind of hand in it. My entrepreneurial spirit was like, let's do it. Let's make our own.
Yeah, I think that's super inspirational because I also think a lot of times in life, everyone wants their path to be linear. And when you are multi-passionate, that's how I personally describe myself, or you dabble in multiple things, people tend to really just not relate to what you're doing. You kind of come off like, oh, you're passionate about film, but you're also passionate about wellness. But I think that's a real reflection of people shooting their shot and going for it. You don't have to have a linear path. You don't have to have one niche. Everybody wants you to have a niche, but you can be your own niche. Your brand can be your niche. And I think if you're a hard worker and you're ambitious and you're intelligent, you can have multiple niches. And I think you're a very good example of that.
Totally.
Awesome. So we're about to go down a different path, which is motivations, mistakes, regrets. But we're going to pause. First, I'm going to remind you that this is lovetobeatradio.co.uk. I'm DJ Summertime. The show is called Shoot Your Shot. We have the inspirational, smart, and talented Rebecca Traub, media producer and entrepreneur, on the show tonight. I'm here every Thursday night. Can you believe that? Every Thursday they let me come here. 8 p.m. UK time on the station, on that site I just mentioned, but also on TikTok Live. So I hope you'll continue to watch. The idea of the show is to inspire you, to motivate you, to hype you up, to excite you, to hear about different people's journeys. And listen to some fun music from time to time. Before we get back into the depth of Rebecca Traub, which is very important, we're going to ask her a stupid, superficial question just to like keep the vibes alive. And the question is, you have 30 seconds to tell us what you think about Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni.
Oh my God.
Go!
Okay, so this is bad. I don't want to be put on the spot, but like, listen. So I was a big Jane the Virgin fan.
Good
Huge.
show. Mm-hmm.
But also I was a big Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds fan.
Nice couple. True.
You know, you got to rep our Canadians. But, you know, you saw it drop today?
No, tell us.
Oh.
You have more than 30 seconds.
Okay.
Tell us.
So it's been going back and forth. He, you know, said some shit. Can I say that? She said some shit.
She can say that, yeah.
Today, so everyone was like against Blake. Like, she was over. She was canceled. Justin was the man. He could do no wrong. Then she released, or her PR lawyers released a bunch of stuff saying that he was saying this, his PR company was saying this, and she was just getting shit on.
It's a bit of a back and forth situation.
Back and forth.
Gossip.
Back and forth. So then it was not looking good for JB. He was now everyone.
JB is Beck's nickname for Justin Baldoni.
Justin Baldoni.
In case you don't know.
I love him. Big fan. And saying that he's like a fake feminist, and he was saying, you know, it was just great. You guys need to go, if you are not following, you need to go look this up. But today, there's now a $400 million lawsuit that he is going after Ryan Reynolds.
Oh.
And this is for, I don't know if you guys have seen Deadpool versus Wolverine, but they have a character in there called Nice Pool. And the dude has a man bun, just like
supposed
JB.
to be Justin Baldoni, a.k.a. JB.
And he calls him a fake feminist or whatever. And, like, apparently Blake Lively's character, who is Ladypool, shoots him in front of a flower shop. So it seems like it's a whole, like, this is getting so... Yikes. It's literally the most entertaining thing that I've seen in media in a long time.
It is. And what is your take, if you can tell us just really quick? Are you team JB, as you call him, or team Blake / Ryan?
Like, I don't know.
She's not sure.
I'm very confused.
She wants to gather the info first.
I mean,
it's very responsible.
In the beginning, I was like, let's cancel Blake. Just because all those interviews were coming out, and she did it to herself. She wasn't, you know, I don't care if your interviewer is a dumbass and asks weird questions. You don't have to be rude. Like, that's true. You just don't.
Gotta be kind.
So I was like, yeah, cancel Blake, fuck her. And then
just bleeping out the curse.
Sorry.
Bleep her.
And then, you know, some stuff was released, and to her point, and then I was confused. But I don't know. Now I'm back on the JB train.
Okay. This was good input, and we put her on the spot. I'm just going to say straight up, I'm team Justin Baldoni. Sorry. That's how I feel. Now, we're back to the show. We got Rebecca Traub here, media producer and entrepreneur. This is DJ Summertime. My real name is Summer Coot. Oh, we got a Team JB on the chat. Joanna Martin's on the line. Like that. Okay. So, we're going into motivations, mistakes, and regrets is what I've entitled this section. In terms of motivations, and again, hopefully this show will inspire you. In terms of shooting your shot, Beck, when you think about what motivates you, a lot of people, money motivates them, which is fine. Success, your legacy when you die, people knowing your name, fame. What motivates you to do the work that you do? What are you trying to achieve? What do you want to be known for? And what makes you wake up in the morning?
I mean, like, money, fame, success, all of it. Maybe not fame. Money and success, for sure.
Money.
And relationships. I think what, again, through all of this, I'm not the most successful person. We're still working on it. We're still getting there. But I would say that I have had such a beautiful life of so many different opportunities, and to me that is success. Having been able to, again, meet so many different people from all over the world, see so many different places in the world, get to do cool things with really inspirational people, that is I think what keeps me going.
Yeah, hell yeah. I think that's awesome. I think it's not always about money or fame, which are things we think of, but it's the journey that actually kind of means success. And when you shoot your shot, you might not get the shot. You might not get where you're trying to go, but the journey is what ends up being what you remember, and that keeps motivating you. So I'm with you. Something that I've thought about my entire life, and I don't remember who said it to me first. It might have been my brother, actually, so if you're listening. But it's something that became really popular to say later on in life. But when you think about how you're existing, think about a movie that's called Your Name. Insert your name, the movie. And what do you want the movie to be about? What do you want the viewer or the audience to get from the movie? If you're the main character, what does it mean? So that always, whenever I'm struggling with how I'm behaving, a relationship I'm in, what I'm doing, I think about, if someone's watching a film about me, what does it say? And a lot of times that's actually helped me pivot or change routes, and it's been something I always ask myself. So I wanted to ask Beck if there is a movie coming out tomorrow, and it's called Rebecca Traub, the movie. What is the theme of the movie? What does she want the audience to get out of it? And what does she hope is on the screen?
It's a good question, because I actually have thought about writing my life movie. And to be honest, it's been really difficult because there's so many different chapters that are so different from each other. Like, they don't seem even connected because I've had so many different lives as I feel like different people. So to sum up, I guess what I would want it to look like is maybe that's it, that you can have, the journey is not, what you were saying, the journey is not linear. The journey can be, you know, I was an au pair in Spain for a year.
Really cool.
I was a director of an acting school for a minute. I was the director of marketing for a cosmetic clinic for a minute. You know, I think that I've dated so many different people. I think that there's so much that people get stuck, especially when they're young, on where the trajectory is going. What is the line? How does it look? How is it going to go? And if you get an opportunity or something happens and it's not going on that line, then people get really thrown off and they don't know what to do. And I think that that's, I guess, part of what the journey is, or the fun of the journey, is that it can be all over the place. So I think maybe my life movie would be all over the place, but it shows you can do all types of different things, and always say yes to every opportunity.
Dude, yes. Like the movie Yes Man.
Oh my God, that's literally how I live my life.
Yes!
I'm a yes woman.
That's the mentality
I say yes to
use.
everything.
Yes, I love that. And it sounds like in Beck's movie we would get to go to a lot of places and see a lot of different things, and that's amazing. As a bonus question, who would play you in the Rebecca Traub film?
That's a great question
You
that
could
I
play yourself
didn't
also.
know how to answer. What do you think would play me?
Such a good question. Maybe Cameron Diaz, if she was younger?
You know, I get that a lot.
Okay.
Her and Claire Danes. Somebody told me, I had a best friend who told me I remind her of Claire Danes because she has weird, like, she does weird things, like fidgety things. And I'm like, okay.
Thank you.
I can't unhear that or unthink about it, but okay.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going with Cameron Diaz if she was a couple years younger.
Okay.
I'm getting similar vibes.
Okay, yep. She's funny, she's cute, she could be nerdy.
We got someone who's going to watch Yes Man tonight. I think that's Natasha. It's such a good film.
Love it.
It really inspires you to just go for it and shoot your shot.
Yeah.
All right, the next question, we're going down a different slope. But we're going to talk about some mistakes and regrets because you don't have a successful journey without such. And I'm still having personally tons of mistakes and regrets, and my path is not linear, and I'm up and I'm down, and it's a roller coaster ride for sure. And I think that's what makes it great. So I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite mistake that you've made thus far? It could be from a career perspective, but it could also be from a personal perspective.
I mean, I can't say that I'm a huge fan of mistakes.
Who is, man?
I know.
Nobody.
I mean, some people, like, really get it, and they're like, this is the lesson, let's move on. That's not me. Like, I wish that it was. So my favorite mistake, or I don't know, I guess a mistake that I learned the most from probably is don't make decisions out of desperation. Actually, that's my favorite lesson. Yeah.
That's deep.
I've made a lot of,
I like that.
both business and personal mistakes out of desperation, and it has never worked out in my favor.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's a hard thing to kind of admit, but sometimes I can relate to that from a personal level. Like, if you really want something to work out, could be a relationship, for example, and so you make a decision perhaps to stay or to continue with something because you're kind of operating from a desperate perspective.
Yeah.
From good intentions, it's because you want something to work and you want to have a partner or something, but I can relate to that. Or sometimes with career, maybe it's a good opportunity, but you're coming from a desperate place and you're not taking the harder path to do something you truly want to do.
Totally.
So I think that's a really good point, and I think I've certainly done that. I was going to say a couple of times. I'm going to say several times. Not a couple of times. But I think that's
a lot of people have, whether they would admit it or not.
Yes, I think it's a hard thing to admit. I think people are weird about the word desperate and desperation, but it's really real. I definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, another thing I wanted to ask you is, I think when we are younger, we see success, and it kind of goes back for me for the linear thing, but we see success as this one thing. And I think as we get older, and also society has changed so much, I don't know, my definition of success has evolved so much. I'm curious if your understanding of success has changed over the years, or if you feel like it's pretty much what you thought it would be when you were like 18.
I mean, I think when I was 18, again, having grown up in the film industry, I probably thought success was fame. Fame and money.
Totally.
Maybe not even that much money, but fame for sure. I worked with a lot of D-list actors.
We'll get the name drop later.
I definitely don't think that anymore. Again, I think I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I feel like it has now changed into relationships and life lessons and learning about yourself, learning about other people. I love people from different cultures, different backgrounds. I love knowing what I don't already know, and I think that now for me has become my version of success. That if at the end of this, and I'm on my deathbed and I'm not rich and famous, but I've lived a life full of wonderful experiences, I think that's I'm gonna say, yep, check.
Yeah, I made it.
We're good.
I think that's really amazing, and I think that's true. I think we like grow up we see success as a dollar amount or being known or having a certain legacy. But I think to your point, in the end, it's the people, it's the relationships you had, it's all of those things. So I wholeheartedly agree. Back to 18-year-old Beck, another question. If you could tell her something, not specifically related to success, but something now, in that, is there something that you have learned that you would tell her as an 18-year-old Beck?
Yes. I have a big lesson to tell her, or I guess something to tell her, advice I would give her, and that would be to not be so anxious about time. Like, don't be so stressed about time. And I can't say that I've figured that out, or I'm still not. I'm very much still anxious with time. I always think that everything has to be done right now.
Yeah.
But now looking back to when I was 18, I'm like, oh my God, I had so much time to do so many different things.
Yeah. And to your point earlier, that's kind of what makes people act out of desperation. I think especially as women, not to make this a woman thing, but you're kind of told you have this ticking clock, right? Like
literally since you're like 17.
Totally. Like you're like, oh, I need to get married. I need to have kids, and your career isn't as prioritized, and you're also really worried about being kind of an outlier, of not being married, not having kids, being different. And so that's the main thing I would tell myself too, is that you have time. And I think it's more evident now, and I'm really glad that our society has shifted a bit, but there's now more people that are single in their 30s and childless in their 30s. And I'm not saying that that's great. Ideally, you have a partner and kids and you're able to do it all. That's wonderful. But I do think that kind of time pressure is artificial, and it's especially targeted towards women. And I would tell myself the same thing as an 18-year-old, is that pressure that people put on you isn't real. And actually that's what makes you make bad decisions or act out of desperation. Or that's what happened in my life, is that sometimes I've made decisions with a relationship or a career where it wasn't genuinely what I wanted to do, but I felt I was on a time constraint. Newsflash, I'm 35 and now I'm doing what I want to do. So it's not how people make you feel. There is a bit of a clock, but it's not as drastic. We're not 50, so that's what I'm getting at.
That's true. And even if we were 50,
it would still be okay.
time.
There's always time. People have done amazing things at 60, 70 if you read the stories, and I like inspiring stories like that, like starting a company that's been super successful. I think the owner of Orange Theory, I think she was the founder. She's 60 plus years old.
Oh,
it's
wow.
a US company. But there's so many examples like that where at any moment you can take the reins and change your life, and you don't need to fall into that trap about age.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even want to start producing until I was 40 because people just didn't take me seriously anyways. So.
Right. I see that a comment on there is you do have a ticking time. You're part of the problem, bruv. Feel free to log off the live. No, I'm just kidding.
Biologically, sort of.
We understand there's a biological clock, but we're talking about aspirations and dreams and rushing it. So telling 25-year-old women they need to get married and not follow their dreams.
Have their careers all set.
It's a bit ridiculous. I feel strongly about that, sir. Whoever that was. Okay, moving on from the clock since it's controversial. But we like a little controversy up in here. But we're going to go back to Beck and not so much about the clock. And my next question is, have you found your aha, I've made it moment? And if there was a moment where you felt like that, which you might have touched on a bit earlier, what was it? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I mentioned earlier... Definitely, like, the Glamour Magazine Awards was a huge one for me. I was part of a production that was shooting the chief editor of Glamour Magazine. So we were kind of following her around, and then we got to go to the Glamour Magazine Awards where I was on the red carpet interviewing all the celebs that would go by, and they were, like, honestly some of the most inspirational kick-ass women out there. So that was cool. And Trevor Noah. I think he was like
I love Trevor Noah. Maybe he's listening. He wouldn't be.
No.
But I love you.
I think he was the only guy that was there. But I don't know if that was like I don't know that I've had like an aha moment like this is it. I've made it. I think like we were saying, when you're a very ambitious person, you do the thing and then you're like, okay, what's next? And it's not that I mean, you can set goals and you're going, okay, this is where I'm like, I've made it. But then you get there and you're like, okay, well, I accomplished it. What's next? You know, I don't know that I personally will ever get to that point. I don't know. Maybe if I'm like at the Oscars, I think, if I win an Oscar or a Golden Globe, you've made it.
No, you've already made it, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, I've been to the Emmys, but I wasn't there for me.
Yes.
I was just there as a date. So.
I think the view of I've made it evolves, and sometimes I think it could also surprise you. Sometimes I've made it ends up being like having a child or having a family or getting the Oscar, and I think it's constantly evolving for people, and a lot of times when you think you've gotten it, your bar gets higher and higher evolves to the left or the right, you know?
If I told my 18-year-old self that I was sitting here with you being interviewed on a radio station in London, I think 18-year-old self would be like, you made it.
I love that.
You made it.
That's pretty cool. All right. So sadly, there's 14 minutes left, so I'm going to pick up the pace a bit. A little bit of a ideology type of question, but let's say everyone here believes in heaven, and then let's also say that Beck gets to go to heaven, which if there is one, she's going. But let's say you get to the gates of heaven. What do you wish is in front of you? What do you wish to hear? What does it look like for you?
Like a Greek paradise with like a DJ and a beach. All my friends and family.
Nice.
Lots of music. Some yachts. I don't know.
Totally.
I feel like that's what heaven would be to me.
Okay. I like that. And is there like something you feel like, are there certain people you expect to be there? Is there something you expect to hear? Is there something like you want to hear when you walk in? Like, yo, you made it, or you've done it. Yeah. Like, is there something you wish to get at the end?
Yeah, like a glass of champagne and yes, you've made it.
Champagne sounds good.
Have you ever seen The Good Place?
Yes, it's one of my mom's favorite shows, actually.
It's literally
on the line.
Hi,
Mom.
One of my faves.
It's a good show.
Any Michael Shore show, to be honest. But, you know, she sits there and she's welcomed in by Ted Danson, who's like,
I love Ted Danson.
You've made it. You're in the good place. I feel like that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
And then, like, all my family's standing behind, and my friends, I mean, those who have died.
Those who have died, not those who haven't. We don't want to bring the dead people there.
I mean, I'll wait. It's fine.
Okay, that was a good answer, and you made heaven sound fun. All right, so last kind of serious question, and then we're going to kind of move on into a rapid fire, and then we're going to close out with Rebecca Traub, media producer and entrepreneur. Again, we are on lovetobeatradio.co.uk. Tune in. I want to know, last kind of serious question is, what is the legacy that you wish to leave behind? So I know it's hard to picture being dead, but if we are dead, what do you wish that people remember you for? And do you even wish to be remembered? And if so, in what way?
I mean, I guess everybody wants to be remembered, right?
I do.
The realist.
Remember me, guys.
Yeah. Realistically, I don't think I will be, other than my family. Hope to God that they remember me.
They will.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to leave behind stories in the shape of films and television where I either share, relatable stories and education and advice and tips and anything that people can relate to or that makes them feel connected or think about something or have a different thought about something they had never thought about before. I think that's kind of, I don't have to be known for it, but that's just kind of what I would like to leave here on this earth when I go, just to
super selfless and very cool. I love that answer. That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that selfless. I would like a Golden Globe at the same time.
Right.
But
yeah, it's a good hybrid. It's selfless and great.
I would also like a Golden Globe for it, but this is what I leave behind.
Cool. Love it. All right, we're going into a rapid fire, and then we have some closeout questions. I really just want to say also a quick thanks. I see a lot of my friends and family joined this call, and it means a lot to me. It's only my third ever episode and my first episode with a guest. So for all the comments and the likes and just joining it all, I just want to say it's so greatly appreciated, and it means a lot to me. So thank you.
And to me too.
And to her, and to Rebecca here. Okay, so we're going into a rapid fire round. I'm going to look at my little paper because I can't remember them all. It's just quick questions for Beck to answer, and they're supposed to be just fun. So don't expect to be inspired or motivated here. This is just good, fun knowledge. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Ask permission or beg forgiveness.
Beg forgiveness.
Last book you read.
Sapiens.
Best film you saw in 2024.
Blink Twice.
Favorite wellness snack.
Protein balls.
Best celebrity sighting.
That I wasn't working with? Or just out in the random?
Any celebrity that was the best one. Sounds like you have a lot.
I do. That G-Eazy story I told you was really fun.
We both have a story about G-Eazy. Okay. Early bird versus night owl.
Early bird.
Favorite city.
Los Angeles.
Donald Trump is blank.
Winning at life.
Interesting. Taylor Swift is blank.
The worst. Oh my god. She has Swifties. I'm gonna get canceled.
Oh my god. No.
Okay.
I think that's enough of the rapid fire. That was good. Thank you. Donald Trump surprised me.
That's a very, I feel like, non-political answer.
It was. We appreciate it.
He is winning at his life.
He is winning his life so hard.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Okay, we're going to close out the show. We got a few questions for people who have now seen this woman and want to follow her, know more about her, and support her. So, super easy, Beck. If people want to follow along with your career and what you're up to, what's the best way to keep up with Rebecca Traub?
Probably on my Instagram, although I'm real bad at updating and posting consistently. But I will do my best now that I know that I have people that like me.
They do. And what is your IG handle if
my
they want to
IG
follow you?
handle is Beck Traub, BECTRAUB.
It's pretty simple to follow. So follow the girl. She's a motivating woman. What can the people, these lovely people who joined this call, what can they expect from Rebecca Traub next? What's the next big thing?
Next big thing is I'm just working on some pitches and treatments of some new shows and films, and so hopefully gonna start getting some funding and shopping those around. So yeah, I would love to be able to share as soon as I have any information to share about any of those projects. I can definitely let you know.
Just go to that Instagram handle, I guess. That's where you'll find it. And any final thoughts you want to leave with our listeners? I'm going to ask you one more bonus question, but is there anything else you wish I asked you, you wanted to say, you want to share?
That I want to share? I mean, in terms of what we're talking about for the show, I think to anybody who's listening, if you have an idea, just do it. I'm going to steal...
Shoot your shot.
I'm going to steal Nike's slogan.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Really, though.
I think the thing with me being a perfectionist is I always want everything to be so ready and done and perfect, and I know how it's going to turn out, and I know what the outcome is going to be before I even start anything. But that's not how business works. You really have to just start and learn as you go and make mistakes, and don't be afraid to make mistakes, and don't feel bad when you make mistakes. Just learn and keep going.
Absolutely. I think you brought up something really good that I've also been thinking about recently, which is the quote, don't let perfection be the enemy of the good, which I think is a really true thing, where when you want to go for something, and I've heard this on a lot of podcasts from really great, inspiring people. I know Stephen Bartlett has talked about it, and I think he interviewed Obama talking about it. But a lot of times people have an idea and they kind of just ideate over it until, like what Beck says, you're a perfectionist, which is a great quality when it comes to executing something. You want all the ducks to be in the row. But sometimes all the ducks are not going to be in a row until you just start. And so a lot of time, perfect is the enemy of the good, because you end up making zero progress or zero improvements, whether it's something you want to change in your life or starting a company. You're waiting for everything to be aligned, and it might never be. So I think that's a really good point, to just go for it, which again, hate to keep mentioning the show name, but just shoot your shot. And the last thing for Rebecca, is there any piece of advice you would leave to the audience? In anything, personal, professional, anything at all? I know that's a bonus question.
I mean, that I haven't already said?
You could elaborate on something you have said, or you could say, no, I've said it all, my friend. I got nothing else for you. That's fine, too.
I mean, I feel like I said everything.
She said a lot of good stuff. She doesn't need to say anything else.
The only thing I mean, just in terms of my mistakes or my biggest learnings have just been that timing is not your enemy. Timing is fine. Don't be stressed. Don't rush. Don't be desperate while making decisions.
So good. Yeah.
And just do it.
I love it. I couldn't agree more. Thank you guys. Well, first of all, thank you to Rebecca for being here. She's my first ever guest.
Oh my God, thank you for asking me. This was so fun.
It was a lot of fun, and I feel very lucky that my first guest was also a very close friend of mine who I think has accomplished so much. So I'm so happy that the first person on the show is someone I know so well. And I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. It really means a lot to me. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you got some feelings of hype, motivation, inspiration. The idea of the show is hopefully to get you thinking about whatever is on your mind and your dreams. And again, there is no comparison or superiority in dreams. It could be the place you want to live, the person you want to be with, whatever it is. Think about the life that you want and just go for it. And thank you so much for tuning in. This is lovetobeatradio.co.uk.